Great. And action.
Hi, my name is Alexander Slanger, and my website is slangerphotography.com. I am a people person. I shoot people. I like interacting with people, specifically kids for the most part, but I do kind of all around. I'm not sure if I'm talking to you or the camera. Okay. Just people. A lot of children. I do weddings. I'm kind of an all-around people photographer. Do a lot of travel as well. We did New Zealand and Australia just a few months ago. My wife and I did a lot of stuff there, and got published. There's a website for camera company Tamron. They lent me a lens and gave me a lens for the trip, actually, to shoot some stuff over there. So in exchange for the lens, we did a couple articles.
Sure.
And then last year did Africa also, and that's what I'm most proud of. Some of my prints there. Working with a Rangefinder magazine right now to get a little pictorial in their magazine also, and hopefully on the website. Where I am now, working out of my place, studio, where I live. Down the road, I mean, the fantasy job is National Geographic, just traveling the world. My wife and I travel a lot. Like I said, to Africa last year. We did Thailand, a lot of Europe, but we'd love to just be working the whole time while I'm out there. But I'm happy where I am, just learning kind of how to market with the internet right now. That's sort of not being a technical guy exactly, aside from equipment that I use, but just sort of whole blogging, website, search engine optimization crap, that sort of stuff, dealing with that right now. But yeah, that's sort of where I am and where I want to be. As far as lighting, I think sort of things unique that I do, I sort of do a lot of, not to get too technical, but sort of balancing getting the deep blue sky and getting a proper exposure in your subject also. So I'm usually strobing with an umbrella or something, or a few strobes up front, letting that sky and the clouds over there go nice and dark, get really moody, just like mixing light together, and just sort of changing things up a lot. And yeah.
Okay, cool. Tell me, I saw some fashion and portrait photos in your iPad. Tell me a little bit about your experience there and sort of like what you try to go for when like shooting fashion or when shooting people.
When shooting people, specifically fashion as opposed to doing kids. Yeah, fashion. I think so much of it just looks so standard, kind of like a Gap commercial. Like it's all that white background goes a little gray. It's nice, I like to do something a little different, whether it's with motion or sometimes, like I said, sort of mixing lights. You might have the model up front, but then what about adding like a light of cable, spinning it in the background, get this beautiful sort of halo effect going on in the background.
Yeah.
Just sort of mixing things up. Because I think almost with this technology especially, anybody can sort of shoot something, Someone calls you up for a job and they're like, oh, it's more than we're expecting to pay. My uncle can... Your uncle has a digital camera, therefore your uncle can shoot something, can shoot a wedding, can shoot, So I think you have to change up with the technology, is kind of adding things in, like I said, sort of moving light or dragging the shutter or something to sort of change things up a little bit. Because like I said, anybody can just sort of shoot a really hot girl in a tight dress in front of a white seamless. You got to add something to it because anybody can do that with an umbrella and a decent camera these days. So, like I said, I'm always looking to do something adding a little moodiness to it, just strip a light across the eyes or something, or doing shadows in the background, just sort of mixing things up, because everyone knows, you look in a magazine, everything looks the same for the most part. You can't sort of identify who a photographer is just by looking at the pictures.
Yeah. To
some extent, so just like to change it up somehow.
Has there ever been a time where you've had to struggle to get the picture you wanted? And maybe tell me about that.
Talking fashion or talking like being in the middle of nowhere trying to...
Nowhere, that's...
Yeah, we were in Africa last year, and there was these kids in the Masai Mara, and long story short, they'd just been circumcised. What they do is they all get together, this group, and they have to fend for themselves the whole time as they're healing. They can't go back to their tribe. They have to fend for themselves all night long and throughout the day until they've healed, and then they come back, and then they're officially men. And these kids are just on the side of the road in the dirt trail, so you just pull up to them. They know what you want to do. You want to take a picture. A couple of white people show up with a camera and they want to shoot, but I want to get my strobe out and my umbrella on the side in the middle of nowhere, and all they want is to get money from me, and I'm like, here's a little cash, but I get 2 or 3 exposures, and they want something a little more, and I'm just trying to, I have no interpreter. I'm trying to coordinate these kids together to get a picture. So what I do then is I have a little printer, a little Polaroid printer. So after we shoot, I give them a little money, and I print out a little 2x3 print for them. They've probably never seen a picture in their life before, of themselves. So I give them a little portrait at the end as a little souvenir and as a thank you. So But that's sort of an extreme case, you know. Typically with the models, it's just like, you know, just a little negotiating, trying to get what you're after. Trying to, you know, I'll do a pose if I need to. You know, I don't mind getting down and dirty and kind of pulling off what I want them to do. But for the most part, people are pretty agreeable. I think they kind of look for someone to be sort of assertive and tell them what to do. Because I see so many shooters up there just kind of say, you know, I get a pretty girl in front of a camera. They're happy. There's like a pretty girl in front of their camera. You know, what could be better? And they're not doing anything, but you're just happy that they're there. So you got to just kind of take control and get them to do what you want them to do. Have a vision.
That's great.
So.